And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Trickery and Chaos.
Go fast, 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 fast.
This time we're mixing it up, going back to what originally started this series.
No, we're
Waste,
not.
Wasted Potential.
Oh, that series.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we haven't done a wasted potential in so long. I forgot we did them.
Yeah, that's actually what started this actual podcast.
And I think it's very fitting that we started with the Blue Bomber. Let's do some waste potential with the Blue Blur. I'm your host, M. That guy is Soul.
Hi! Wait a
And,
minute.
well, I'm more the Sonic expert, and it feels more appropriate that I lead this charge, don't I?
He knows Sonic like I know Berserk.
Yes. I'm also
be-
the Gundam guy.
To be fair,
Also
I
the
do know a
Code Geass guy.
little bit about Sonic. I have played most of the games.
Mm-hmm.
He's
So
beaten most
obviously-
of them compared to what I've played.
Oftentimes my own detriment.
Yeah.
So, let's just start off with the Blue Blur, Sonic the Hedgehog. This was his original game for the Sega Mega Drive, or as we know it here in Canada and Lesser Canada, the Genesis.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you ever think I'll actually call your nation by its name?
I don't think even we call by our name sometimes. So,
Yeah, but this was Sega's attempt to beat Mario, a hop and bop 2D platformer. And what do you think, comparing the Genesis to the NES Mario?
I think for what they were going for, they definitely knew that they couldn't just copy and paste the Mario system, as I like to call it, or the Jumpman per
Yeah.
se. They needed something different, something that was more paced to their Sega Genesis at the time, which is
To be
why
hip and cool with attitude.
and incredibly fast.
Yep.
I will give full
And-
credit, but that's also why they in a lot of Sonic games there were no bottomless pits.
Yeah. God, I wish the Advanced series took that lesson.
Yeah, but
Anyway,
to be
I-
fair,
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
didn't actually start with Sonic 1. I started with Sonic 2. In fact, technically, Sonic 2 was the very first video game I owned. Not the first video game I played, but the Genesis is a very important memory to me. My first games were my father's Intellivision, if anyone knows that console. And I can remember they played the Intellivision, but I don't remember what age I got the Genesis. It's that much of a part of my history that, yeah, my childhood, the Genesis is there.
Yeah, my first one was God, I don't remember what it was called.
It clearly didn't leave an impact on you, like Sonic left an impact on me.
No, it was just that I was so little and so.
Mhm.
I think it was the Atari. If I'm going to be honest with you, because it had the stick and the one button, but
Yeah,
that could be
that's the Atari from the
Yeah.
Sega.
yeah, I think it was the
actually
Atari.
never actually played an Atari console. I've seen them in person. The one I did see in person was non-functioning. It was
Yeah, it was my grandmother's.
Uh,
Yeah, and it's somewhere in this house. I think we put it away in storage when she passed
Yeah.
on.
yeah. So, Sonic, if you ask me, definitely defeated Mario in terms of 2D quality for Genesis versus the NES and even the Super Nintendo. Feel free to disagree with me because I still think those Mario games on the NES and Super Nintendo are really damn good. Like,
Well, here's the thing, and this is more of a defining feature between the Sega Genesis and the Super Nintendo, and if you want to go as a mascot war, what defined the two of them? Mario was more of a, well, I won't say the only precise jumper, but he was not made for the speed that Sonic was running at, because Mario
No.
had the bottomless pits,
Secret Endings.
secret endings, different mechanics with different power ups than not Shadow,
Yeah.
Sonic got. So a 1-for-1 is a little hard to do.
Yeah, it's
by their-
basically apples and oranges, but you can still compare them as fruit.
But as jumping platformers, Sonic, with his speed, sometimes made the jumping a little harder. Mario felt so slow when you went back and forth. So there were
You did.
plus and minuses between the two.
Yeah, but there was definitely enough room for both of them.
Oh, most definitely.
Definitely can't get into the mascot war, though, that Sonic accidentally started
Yeah, there was.
a lot.
Yeah, but I think to be fair, in my opinion, Sonic really shone because the Super Nintendo had not come over yet. So with the Sega Genesis showing off its fast-paced system,
Fast
really
processing.
and better processing really started the trend for that
Yeah.
because it knew it really hit the nail on the head because it knew it was on a good stretch.
And Sonic did have the advantage of better marketing than Mario did, at least
Mm-hmm.
in the West. Uh, this is a side note for a lot of people who are very surprised, but Sonic's impact on the Eastern market is quite small. He's not a household name even today. Like, he wasn't a household name back in the day for a little bit, but he was never caught on like he did here in North America and the European nations. We're why Sonic's popular, and it's why he often is in weird crossover games. Like, the entire reason why this is a whole subtangent why he wasn't in the Project Cross Zone games is that was made with Japanese fans in mind first, and while it had Sega characters, he wasn't as well wanted by Sega Japan players, which sucks. I would have loved to have him side by side with Mega Man X.
Yeah.
But
Um.
anyway, we're not here to discuss the Genesis era of Sonic beyond introducing the character, because honestly, there's only one bad game for the Genesis, and that's Sonic 3D Blast, and that was not even made by Sonic Team, so the Genesis era, I don't think has any waste potential. I think it was handled spectacularly with one hiccup, which is not even a hiccup these days. That's splitting Sonic 3 and Knuckles into Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles.
That I kind of.
I get why it was done. I don't like it, but I'm over it. I, however, do consider them two separate games. Some people consider them one game. You do you.
Yeah, I can't really argue that point.
No.
But
We're here to discuss Sonic's awkward transition into 3D. And if Sonic beat Mario in the 2D department, Mario definitely handled the 3D transition a lot better than Sonic did.
and that's saying a lot considering the fact Mario's first adventure in 3D was Mario 64.
I still consider it an all-time classic.
It's an
In
all-time
fact,
classic, but what really killed Mario 64 was the lack of a real camera stick.
yeah, well, that hadn't been invented yet.
Fair, but I'm just saying like that was the real Achilles heel to that
Yeah,
game.
I
And
mean, the camera.
apologies, folk, if these images come out a little fuzzy. We are actually trying a new setup to see how well it works for the show.
I have control of the images this time.
Mm-hmm. So I'm kind of watching from Discord recording on OBS. So if it comes out fuzzy, I do apologize.
Yeah, we wanted to try and save Soul's computer from bursting the flames by
Yeah.
having mine do the brunt of the work. Because honestly, all those images were bad for Soul's computer, which I don't understand how, well, recording isn't bad for controlling computer. But we're not computer guys, so if we were,
Yeah.
we would have had a much better setup.
Yeah, like I've only got 4 cores in the CPU. Anybody understands computers that I've been told knows that's not good.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I don't know.
moving
I don't know
on.
what that means at all. Anyway, so this is Sonic Adventure, the Dreamcast title, which then got ported to the GameCube as Sonic DX Adventure, which is how I played it. Because
Was
I never had a Dreamcast.
so I know I played the original Dreamcast.
Mhm.
I know that much. I never beat
I
it, but I did play it.
Mhm.
This when it got transferred over to the GameCube, it also got a few add-ons, I believe.
Yeah, they also redid some cutscenes, redid some models of places. The better and worse at times. Like, you can split it right down the middle which version is better, because there are advantages to the original version and there are advantages to the DX version.
I will say this one: the lip syncing is not one for either one.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, if you ever get a
It's
chance to
basically
watch it, it's almost like a
Oh
train wreck.
yeah, that's basically what their mouth movements sound like they should be saying instead of the actual conversation they're having. Sonic Adventure is really trying a lot of things at once. It basically decided to give you 6 playable characters, all with vastly different gameplay styles, except for Sonic and Tails had the same gameplay, so we'll explain that in a minute, but they also redesigned Sonic for the modern era. This is not as exact design now, but I do remember when this design came out, how much it split the fan base down the middle.
Actually kind of like it. I mean, it's not too far off from what the original source was.
Yeah, well, he's known for pudgy. People didn't complain. Most people I know didn't complain about being known to be pudgy. But a lot of people didn't like having green eyes.
Really?
Yeah, the green eyes caused a lot of controversy at the time.
I have so many questions.
Let's just not discuss the Boone controversy of his redesign.
I want to. Do you mean with the arms?
No, not just the arms.
Eh.
But
Anyway,
yeah, there have been controversies about Sonic's arm colors too. I look. Generally, I like what Sega does with Sonic's design, and I do think the Adventure era carries on what they really wanted to. Hey, look at this guy. He's got edge. He's got character.
look, as
He
long
ain't
as
like
we're not falling into the Sonic the Hedgehog, the first pre-cut stuff for the movie Sonic, I think we're good. I mean, imagine that having this lip syncing.
Anyway, Sonic's gameplay is the standard get from the start of the stage to the end of the stage. For only now it's in 3D.
And unlike the Mario games, you were sort of timed, but you weren't counted down. It just counted how long it took to beat the level.
Yeah, and you had full speed right from the start, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Which there are some stages you could basically just jump in one spot if you're going fast enough and soar over so much section of it. For speed running, it's basically a godsend.
Yes. And like I
It
said,
is-
in majority of the first 2D games, there were no pitfalls.
No, this one had so many pitfalls.
Yeah, which is kind of one of the first things I think is a problem, and I understand why it's there at the same time.
They also ran into the same problem Shigeru Miyamoto did with Mario 64. It's kind of hard to jump on something in a 3D space. No, it isn't. But they came up with a system different from Mario's system in 64, where Mario could learn how to punch and kick to defend himself from Goombas. Sonic got something called the homing attack, where he'd jump in the air, you hit jump again, and he'd target the nearest enemy and smash it.
This
I
was
love
actually a pretty good system. It could be a little wonky at times,
God, yes.
but for a starting system, it functioned. I mean,
It did. And it really gave Sonic a unique ability that doesn't really get copied too often. There are some characters with it. I don't mind it so much.
Mhm.
But
I-
here we have my favorite character of the Sonic franchise. Miles Tails Per Hour.
the
Artist Tail.
sidekick.
Yeah. He was introduced in Sonic 2 as just the invincible tag-along character that you'd give to player 2. I was the player 2 for a while. Yeah, my big sister would have to make me play as Tails.
Yeah.
And I don't mind.
I mean,
I
the
didn't
best thing
mind.
about him is that he could fly.
You could control he could fly in the second game. But
Well,
in the 3D one, you can, and his missions are races. They play the exact same as Sonic's, only you are chasing character A to the end. This character could be Sonic, the main villain at one point. But yeah, it's basically just little races, and they're basically Sonic stage, only shorter. And I actually found them more enjoyable than Sonic stages. It's one of the reasons why Tails became so beloved to me, is that if I wanted a quick hop and bop, Tails was much more
do you
my
think that's
speed.
because the stages were shorter and you might have felt more control because Tails didn't go as fast?
He didn't go as fast, but his flight could be really awkward at times, and I do think they designed around that.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the stages had some issues because they gave you, like, a certain amount of length to go full speed,
Mm-hmm.
and then you almost had to completely come to a stop in order to get anywhere else.
Pretty much, yeah.
So. Now,
So-
this fun character.
He is
I-
Dr. Ivo Eggman Robotnik.
Yeah, I could say is his name still Ivo in this one?
Yes, this is the game that introduced the Western fanbase to the Japanese name he's always had, Dr. Eggman. But it's also the game that introduced it as an insult from Sonic that Eggman, I'm just going to say this about Dr. Eggman. His body positivity is amazing. He gets called Eggman, and his response is, you know what? Fuck you, I am Dr. Eggman. Screw you.
The
But
funny
they
thing is,
also-
he's actually faster than Sonic. Haha!
Yeah. only
It's
for
a
games like
meme,
Christmas.
I know, but
Yeah.
but I'm
God,
just saying
his
that's
legs are
impressive
so
with those
noodly.
noodly legs.
Oh god, how is he standing? But yeah, for those who don't know the story, this pretty much all the same way from Sonic 1 to Sonic Adventure. Dr. Eggman wants to take over the world, so he decides to make a robot army powered by woodland creatures.
I don't even know how to begin saying how obscene that is, and go look at Dr. Wily and shake his hand for being a genius.
Yeah, I honestly think Dr. Eggman is smarter than Dr. Wily.
Yeah, but
So crazier.
yeah, I mean, woodland creatures as battery sources. It kinda sounds the same when you say it out loud.
Yeah, it shouldn't work, but it does. And Sonic's whole still is, oh, hey, you can't do that. I believe in freedom. I'm gonna kick the crap out of you for taking away these animals' freedoms.
And thus a rivalry was born.
Yeah, and it's one of the. It honestly makes more sense to me than Bowser and Mario's rivalry. Because, well, every now and then Mario will invite Bowser over to golf and the cart and the party.
Well, he's trying to make him stop the enemies and Bowser stop being evil. He's trying to change him for the better.
I suppose. I don't think there's any redeeming Eggman. He does some good things for the franchise, but that's really more along the lines of, if I don't help Sonic, the world is doomed. That's where I keep my stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like my stuff.
So he's usually a main antagonist for a large portion of Sonic series.
Yeah, if not, he's the secondary antagonist, or he's the main antagonist, and then oopsie doopsie, I can't control the Doomsday device.
Yeah,
Built,
as
released, summoned.
Yeah, as of late, he's kind of what I call the catalyst to the cataclysm.
Yeah. Some games he's returned to be the main antagonist with nothing getting in the way besides Sonic.
I mean,
but in the adventure era, that's a running thing. Is he pokes Pandora's box, hoping to harness Pandora's box, and then gets caught up in it.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to make the comparison, but he's kind of the Bowser of the series anymore.
Yeah, they really returned him to being the full villain after the Adventure franchise, which is we're only covering from Sonic Adventure to Sonic 06.
Yeah, the reason being is that in a couple of days, I think about a week from the time of this recording,
yes,
Sonic Frontier will be coming out. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity to discuss what does and does not work for a 3D Sonic game.
That's more open-ended. The other Sonic games are more condensed.
Yeah. But moving on for a moment, we'll get through the characters a little bit.
Yeah.
This charming dimwit.
Yeah. Yeah, Knuckles the Echidna, the breakaway character from the third game that everyone ends up loving, but who's now been relegated to pretty much just cameo appearances, feels like, unfortunately to him. I never really cared for Knuckles that much growing up, but I never hated the guy. But there's a lot of jokes about him being dumber than a bag of rocks.
Well, to be fair, his writing in a lot of the early adventure games did not do him any favors.
No, but the thing is, he's a hermit who lives alone with a magic MacGuffin. He doesn't meet people very often, so of course his people skills are below average.
Yeah, I think the best way that was demonstrated was in the Sonic 2 movie, but that's a complete discussion regardless.
It's weird. I'm a big Sonic fan, but I haven't watched either of the movies. I'm just not interested in them.
I thought they were good, but moving on.
I've heard they're good, but I'll get to them. But yeah, Knuckles, his gameplay through this is it's treasure mode. He's looking for hit shards of his precious magic Master Emerald, and he can sense them. And honestly, this gameplay got carried over Sonic Adventure 2. It's better in 1 because in 1 he can sense the 3 pieces in the level at all times. In 2 he can only sense 1 at a time. So you could be right on top of shard 3, for example, and not sense it. Or in 1, all your sensors go off at once and go, okay, I'm getting closer to Emerald Shard 2. All right, I'll find that one first.
I forgot they did that.
He's pretty fast in Adventure 1 and 2. He's not as fast as Sonic, and he has his long-distance gliding ability, and his stages are much more vertically built up.
Yeah, I think he kind of got the better end of this in the exploration and move around because he can climb walls, dig through certain areas. Yeah. He felt like he was more of a true 3D game exploration platformer.
But he wasn't the main character. Honestly, they could have leaned in on that. There's one side note about Knuckles in the Adventure franchise. He's the first time I ever liked rap music.
I forgot about that.
All his stages in the Adventure 2 game have rap music pretty much playing in the background. It's cheesy and terrible rap music, but there's one reason why I like them. I know what the hell they're singing about. I can't understand. If I can't understand lyrics in English, my brain gives me a headache. I don't mind so much not understanding lyrics in another language if they're set at a pace that I'm like, oh, hey, those are words. I don't know what these words mean, but I can hear them. Side tangent over. Knuckles is often considered the black character of the franchise. I don't get the franchise. He's also considered the Piccolo of the franchise. Because he started off as a rival and now is the heavy of the group.
I mean, I think the reason he's really considered the strong meathead is
Mm.
because he falls for Robotnik's tricks constantly.
If you include the Genesis handheld era, oh boy, does he ever.
Yeah, and I think that's really kind of what led him down the path of being a meathead. Like, okay, you don't really know people. You're a hermit. You fall for Robotnik's trick once, maybe twice, and then you just kind of stop listening to the evil man.
Yeah. At least, put a disguise on Eggman when you trick him.
No, Eggman just pretty much claims something and he just goes right along with it.
Mhm.
I mean, I can't. Okay, Amy was next. Okay, I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Yeah. So this is the second appearance of Amy Rose. She appeared in Sonic CD as a damsel in distress. Her entire story in this game is she's trying to protect a little bird from Eggman.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got the slowest action gameplay of the group, with her running around avoiding a killer robot. It's basically Nemesis from Resident Evil, but for kids.
Yeah, that's actually pretty
I
accurate.
And it was pretty stressful when I first played as a kid.
I mean,
I do. She does defend herself with a giant freaking hammer,
a Pika Pika hammer.
which is the squeaky hammers, which I actually really like the character trait for.
I just kind
Now,
of funny hearing her swing that thing around. You see the size of it, and see her Pika Squeaka Squeaka. I'm like,
yeah,
this is amazing.
and sometimes when she swings it, there's heart trailing behind it. But even though it squeaks, oh my god, is that thing destructive?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Amy is a very hit or miss character with a lot of fan bases. A lot of people consider her just the token girl, cutesy, annoying. I actually kind of like her.
I.
Like I don't think she's the best female character in the Sonic franchise. Heavens no. I think she's the Sonic female character with the most potential.
Without going in too much of a tangent with a different series for Sonic,
Hmm.
she just felt at the start too generic and one note with her
Yeah.
desire to date Sonic.
Yeah, that is legit. I can't argue anyone who says that's stupid. Like, yeah, he clearly is not interested in.
I mean, her having a crush on him, fine, it happens. Like, I can't say people don't get a crush on the people that they're not going to
Yeah.
be with. I'm
That
not.
crush inspiring her to be more heroic, like he is. I like that.
But
You know,
in the early games with her, it was kind of,
yeah.
oh, I'm Sonic's girlfriend. We have never been on a date, and I don't even want to be your boyfriend.
I
It,
get it always came across that Sonic wouldn't have minded her if she just wanted to be friends, but her going from 0 to 60, ironically, is too fast for him.
yeah, but that's also a different speed record. So
Exactly. She also uh, has some pretty toxic ideas about herself. At one point in one of the side games, she starves herself trying to be prettier for him, and he's like, "I like you as you are, but I don't like you as a couple thing."
and she also has the generic trait of, oh, no one messes with her when she's angry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
which
I just hate that trope.
I don't hate it, but I'm never like, "Oh, hey, let's do that right now."
Yeah, okay. To be fair, I think it's a little overused with a lot of stuff. With
Yeah, she's
it
definitely
is,
the. If we're gonna keep the Dragon Ball trend going, she's definitely the Chi Chi in terms of, oh, she's mad, better run. Ooh,
and I
so
just
scary.
hated it with characters that you know really aren't that big of a threat to the other characters.
Granted, though, considering the power scaling, yeah, she probably is as much of a threat if she could hit you with that damn hammer.
Yeah, Amy kind of can get away with it because she's actually keeping up with the other characters. But
Yeah, she also has a sixth sense for finding Sonic. Like his general area, like he could be on the other side of the world, and she can be like, "I think I know the trail.
yeah,
Yes, it smells Sonic," and runs off.
yeah, which is
There was-
also high levels of stalkerish creepy.
Yeah, they really melded out in later years, and I'm glad they did.
Thankfully.
I'm actually okay with it being her introduction and her growing out of it because that's
Yeah.
a thing young kids will sometimes end up doing.
Like I said, early Amy I couldn't stand. Later Amy, while
Yeah.
not my favorite character, was much better as a character.
Like I said, she's got the greatest potential, and unfortunately, they really waste it. So, she fits this show.
Yeah, I'll be fair. We won't be discussing the game, but in Sonic Forces, she got a lot better.
Yes. God, I hate Big the Cat.
I'm okay with Big Cat.
I don't usually mind fishing games, but I don't know what they're doing with Big, but the fan base has really latched onto him being mentally slow.
Okay, as a character, he's fine. His gameplay in the game left a lot to be desired.
I'm the other way around. I don't mind his gameplay that much.
Well, what I say about his gameplay is that he's literally just using his fishing rod to find his friend Froggy.
Yeah, so we went from get to the end as fast as you can, race a character, find emerald pieces as fast as you can, dodge a crazed robot trying to capture you and a little bird, to where's my pet frog Froggy? I'll just sit down and fish for him. The only thing notable about Big the Cat is that annoying voice I just did is pretty much his voice, and it's provided by that guy who voiced Duke Nukem.
But the thing about it is that Biggs is just a big, slow character that generally just wants to be left alone.
No, he doesn't want to be left alone. He just wants to spend time with his best friend, which is a frog.
Eh.
Like, I almost wonder why he lives alone in the woods. Like, and he's pleasant enough. He gets along with the characters when he meets them. Like, has he never met people before? I
Well,
don't know.
do you see the look in his eyes? He has seen some shit.
No, I think he's just on way too much catnip.
Well, how do you think he's seen things?
Mm.
But yeah, basically he just goes around the level, tries to get from point A to point B, throws the fishing lure out, and tries to get Froggy to take the bait so he can reel him back in.
Yeah. And the final character we got is E-102 Gamma. This is one of Eggman's robots on a mission to, well, first to do Eggman's bidding, and then later on free other Eggman robots from the bird. He tries to free the birds inside them,
Mm-hmm.
which he considers his brothers, and he wants their freedom because Amy Rose was kind to him and taught him, he's more than what he was built to be.
And he's actually my favorite of the Sonic.
Adventure era?
Yeah.
Yeah. His gameplay is get to the target, but you're on a timer, and you have to keep shooting enemies to keep your timer from depleting.
Mm-hmm.
His stages are pretty short too, and they're a lot of fun. In fact, so much fun his gameplay got restored twice in the Adventure sequel.
Yeah. He was actually one of the first offshoot characters that I really enjoyed in the Adventure series because he was actually the first one I completed, to be honest with you. Just because I like going around shooting things and going through the levels with it.
Yeah, he's got a pretty short story and pretty good final boss, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
So, these 6 characters sound like they should have not even collide with each other, but they do. Sonic and Tails are on the same mission together.
Mm-hmm.
Amy is trying to find Sonic and get the bird to safety. Knuckles is trying to find his emerald shards. Big is trying to find his pet frog. And Gamma is trying to do his own thing. This all basically culminates because Dr. Eggman is behind the scenes pulling strings to get all the weapons powered up. He's flying around in this thing. It's called the Egg Carrier. It's an actual hub map of the game. I had so many hours as a child running around this map, having fun, just in the map, not even the actual stages, just running around this map.
Now just picture you running around a circle going, wee! I'm Dr. Eggman!
That's actually what I did as a child.
That sounds adorable.
Yeah. I mean, I know people who ran around Hyrule Field for like 40 plus hours and over a time as a child.
I don't know what you mean.
But using his giant egg carrier, he's flying around gathering the Chaos Emeralds, which we'll discuss in length about now. They're the magic MacGuffins of the series. There are 7 in total. And if you gather all 7, you get your wish from the Eternal Dragon.
Wrong series.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you gather all 7, you can become superpowered, with the ability to warp space and time. In the hands of someone like Dr. Eggman, that's pretty dangerous. But this time, he's feeding it to a weird creature. A weird creature that was housed inside the Master Emerald, which is Knuckles' sworn duty to protect it.
Yeah, they had this weird chant that the Chaos Emeralds and the Master Emerald is kind of like the server to the Chaos. Chaos is kind of like pretty much life energy, universe energy.
Yeah,
it's kind of vague
in this franchise. But yeah, that's why Knuckles had to go around looking for the shards. Eggman smashed it, released Chaos, and Knuckles has to rebuild it, and he's not really that concerned with Chaos.
Yeah, apparently Knuckles' tribe has been guarding the Master Emerald for eons, it's implied.
Yeah. This is what one of his ancestors, and the autonomous chaos. Also, the Chows, the adorable collectible animals of the franchise that need to come back more often.
Yeah, I can do without.
I like them as a side content.
But so
Yeah,
apparently that they got along with Chaos.
he was the protector of the Chow. Tikal, the echidna ancestor to Knuckles, her tribe tried to steal the emerald, pissed off Chaos, almost doomed the world. They decided from then on to guard it.
Mm-hmm.
Tikal's ghost follows the characters and is trying to push them to stopping Chaos. That's the real connector between the stories, but sometimes the connection is very weak.
To be fair, it's kind of weak because a lot of it is kind of them either misunderstanding, not knowing what the hell's going on. Like I would not know what the hell's going on following a ghost.
Mm-mm. She doesn't really give you anything. She gives you like flashbacks to the back in her time, and if you play all 6 stories, you piece the story together. I like that. But at the same time, the characters just feel kind of shoehorned, and that's the waste potential of this game. Is they wanted to do 6 separate stories that connected, and I don't think they connect very well at
Like,
all.
okay, the weakest connections was Big the Cat
Yeah.
and Gamma.
Yes, Gamma's story ties very well into Amy's.
Right.
That is it. That's it.
Big's Frog swallowed Chaos Emerald and grew a tail. That's how he pictures it, and that's about it. But that
Yeah,
connection is so forced. It is.
Sonic literally meets Big when Big is trying to fish Froggy out of Chaos because Chaos is made of water. And he's like, okay, I'll distract him. You get your friend out. That is the only connection they have besides Big somehow pilots tells his plane to safety.
Yeah. So.
I don't even.
So yeah, that's really the only connection they have in this, and it's like I get what they're going for, but it just fell flat.
Yeah. So Eggman learned the Legend of Chaos, decides, what if I release that beast and then control it to take over the world? And this is its actual in-game model for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, this was actually impressive for the Dreamcast. I'll give it that.
It was, because they wanted to do something that's never been done before in gaming, and that was make a creature made out of water.
The
Pretty
water
impressive.
effects were pretty impressive given the time.
Yeah. So every time he eats a Chaos Emerald, he gains bones. You can see an emerald right in that.
That kind of sounds like a weakness for that.
It kind of does, but it also does increase his destructive abilities.
True.
So you fight Chaos 2, 4, 6, and then later the one that eats all the emeralds.
Yeah, you never fought. Did anyone ever actually fight what Chaos with one emerald?
No, but you do see it for a few seconds.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So rather than use these ultimate sources of infinite energy to power giant weapons, Eggman decides to power a giant monster.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's not that bright.
No.
This is a rendered cutscene from the Dreamcast, which I still think has aged fantastically.
Yeah, this was the CGI work in a lot of cutscenes for the Dreamcast was well done.
Yeah, the Dreamcast was definitely ahead of its time. In
The more
that
questionable
category.
stuff was the gameplay.
Yeah. Also, it's very poor piracy protection.
Yeah.
But this is perfect chaos. When this creature got unleashed, it flooded an entire city.
And it was just getting started.
Yeah. This is really impressive, really terrifying. Yeah, that's its boss model.
Yeah, a little less scary.
What you don't see is that the front of its lips would wiggle up and down. It was so stupid. It sucked. Basically, yeah. But that's pretty much the story of Sonic Adventure.
Sonic goes super, destroys Chaos, sets everything right. We're all good.
Yeah. It was a first attempt at a 3D game. It had a lot of flaws and a lot of heart. And I think it's pretty good. It's aged alright considering the time. I don't think it's aged as well as Mario 64, even though it came out years after Mario 64.
Just 1 second, and I'm going to try closing out a little back in and see if it'll clear up the picture again.
Sure. But,
there we go. Okay. Can you go back one just so we can see the better image of the... Yes, thank you.
All right, there we go.
But yeah, like I said, this was impressive CGI work for
yeah,
the
really
Dreamcast.
was.
Like, that was its best strong suit for the series, in my opinion.
I recommend just looking up the opening to Sonic Adventure, and also you'll be introduced into the band Crush 40, which was the in-house band for Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's who it was. Thank you. I could not remember that.
Yeah, Named as such because all the band members wanted to crush the age of 40. They never wanted to turn 40. They're all in their 50s now.
But
Yeah. Honestly, Crush 40 is one of my favorite, so bad they're good music
are they the
groups.
ones that did Supersonic?
Uh, that's not a very good narrowing down.
I
So
could go. I can go Supersonic. I can.
no, that was up before that.
Okay, I'll have to look at it then.
Yeah.
But moving on.
They did songs like "Live and Learn,"
Ah, okay.
"In His World," and the opening theme to this one, which, oh god, I can't relive it now. But this laid the groundwork for 3D Sonic. Very open world. You could go run around maps, zones,
Mm-hmm.
which they threw out the window immediately for the sequel, Sonic Adventure 2.
Yep. Now this.
Which,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Sonic Adventure 1 did do well enough to get the sequel.
Hmm.
Now, the sequel does follow a lot from the first one of having multiple protagonists. It replaces Gamma, and I think Biggs got replaced as well, but I think he makes an appearance.
They just got Biggs makes cameo appearances.
That's what.
Uh,
Yes.
Gamma is technically destroyed because he's freed his bird self from the body,
Mm-hmm.
and Gamma's gameplay is now split between two characters. Rather than pick of the 6 characters, you pick the two teams, the hero side and the dark side. So, in this game, you get to play as Dr. Eggman and 2 other characters on the dark side, and Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles on the good side.
Mm-hmm.
Again, one of the problems is how they handle Knuckles, because he's off doing his own thing because the Master Emerald got smashed again. Luckily, no
Yeah.
chaos this time. He just kind of bumps into the group.
Yeah. Knuckles, like we said, he kind of has a stereotype written for him.
He cares about the Master Emerald, and he's dumb.
Yeah. And
That being said, though, when his friends need him and he's there, he's got their backs.
Mm-hmm. He's not a terrible person. He is just gullible,
Not interested.
extremely.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, Sonic did get a touch up in his design, mostly his shoes in this one.
Sponsored by Soap, which is the type of shoe he's wearing. The Soap shoes are designed for grinding on rails down like, stair rails. I actually found this to be a really nice addition to Sonic because it's something he would do. It's extreme sports. Sonic would be very into parkour,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. His gameplay has changed not at all.
The only thing that was added on was that his gameplay got touched up.
Yeah, it's smoother.
Grinding was a little. Could he grind in the first one? I think he could.
No,
Could he?
no, he could. No, he could.
Okay, grinding was added,
Not.
and the homing attack got tweaked to better performance. Not perfect, but
No.
it was clear signs they were learning from the original.
Tails' gameplay got completely thrown out the window, and now he's playing as Gamma.
They gave him
Yeah,
a
this
gun.
Yeah, they put. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, Sonic Heroes having a gun is such a strange idea. Who would ever think about doing that?
Maybe
But
the
yeah,
genius.
Yeah, so he runs around the stages shooting robots. He doesn't really have a time issue. It's just he has more of a destructive, slow gameplay style.
Yeah,
And
this is where it really shows off a lot of Tails' genius.
yeah, he was always the tag-along kid. In Sonic Adventure, he repairs a plane and then builds his own plane. Here, he's downright building Dr. Eggman-style mechs to fight Dr. Eggman, which he should do more often.
And somewhat, if you're just going from like Sonic 3 to this, it does feel kind of out of left field. But
Yep.
given there was not much dialogue story in Sonic 3 or at all,
No.
yeah, you kind of forgive it because it's giving characters details and such.
Yeah. Some people did not like this for Tails. I would have liked option to be one or the other, like some stages as Tails outside his mech, some stages with it. But overall, I was pretty much for it
I think
because
it
it did one of the things I disliked. It fixed one of the complaints about Adventure. Both the hero and the dark stories are homogenous. You don't have to relearn a whole new character every single time you switch stories. There's your speedy hop and bop Sonic, there's your mech pilot, and then there's your treasure finder. Those are the 3 gameplay styles. There's one on each team. So if they wanted to do that for Dr. Eggman, who would be best to take that place for the hero side? So
I think what it was is that if you just go from Adventure 1 to now, I don't know how much time passed between them,
No, they
but
don't.
the biplane that he fixed that was Tornado that Sonic owned to this transformed mech, bit of a stretch, just a bit.
I
I
always thought he took some Eggman technology and reverse engineered it.
That could
Learning.
happen, but still, I'm just saying, like, if you're just
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen that.
yeah, or at
That's a
least some defining that this was not like if you say this was like a couple of months, yeah, I can't believe that.
no. Even if he's reverse engineering, I don't see that being
Yeah,
a couple months
you give
because
it like a year or two, I'll bite.
yeah, because this performs as well as Eggman's mech in this machine.
So
Which
it's more of a question of disbelief with that.
mm-hmm.
But it's not the disbelief that you can't believe that Tails is a child genius. It's more of a line like what even a genius could do.
Yeah, Eggman's believable because he has a giant, he has an army of robots. He can just give them blueprints to build for him. So him having a new machine for a few minutes doesn't seem that outrageous to me. So, can you hear me at all?
I can hear you.
Okay, you're not really responding very often to me.
I was just letting you go on because, as we said, you're the better expert on this.
But I'm just saying, if it's more believable if someone has many hands rather than one set of hands to build something.
Yes.
That was the point I was trying to get across.
Because Eggman has a variety of ships, an empire of robots. How he's still getting away with making all of them is an issue.
Oh.
I mean, it's established that there are people, laws, nations in the game.
Yeah. This is the one that introduces the GUN, which gun, I forget what gun stands for. I think it's Guardians of the United Nations. I don't remember.
Something or other, but
But
the main point is that there's a world government. Eggman should be like almost public enemy number one,
yeah, they keep kind of ignoring him, and they also tend to forget about Gun in later games.
and forget about all the chaos that he creates in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh no, Dr. Eggman's doing this. If only we had locked him up the first 7 times.
But here's the breakaway character from Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow the Hedgehog, the evil Sonic, who is a cryogenically frozen hedgehog. Eggman frees and starts causing chaos, which gets Sonic framed because, I mean, look at him. He's totally Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, that just boggles my mind.
I always took it as Sonic is the only one capable of doing these things this fast. Ergo, okay, it has to be Sonic because we have no video footage besides a streak of destruction.
I would buy that if this wasn't continuing on from Sonic 1, 2, and 3 being canon and Eggman didn't build a robotic Sonic earlier.
Well, maybe the public never saw those.
Okay, fair point.
But at the same time, they've immediately turned on the hero who, last game, saved an entire flooded city from a giant lizard monster.
Yeah.
To Sonic broke into a museum, stole a Chaos Emerald, and busted up some government
At least
equipment.
they only did this once.
Yes. Let's throw Sonic in jail immediately. Shadow is, as some people like to say, Edgy the Hedgy.
That's actually pretty good.
That's an old nickname I've heard for years.
That's actually the first time I'm hearing that one.
Really? I've said it before to you.
Swiss cheese memory. Moving on.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, Eggman freed Shadow because, again, oh, I learned about something. Ooh, this is a dangerous weapon. I'm going to have it. He wasn't expecting a hedgehog.
He really does like his Pandora boxes, doesn't he?
He does. So Shadow says, I can grant you domination of the world. Help me gather the 7 Chaos Emeralds and head to the Space Colony Ark, which was created by his grandfather, as was Shadow. Yes, that's right. Technically, you consider Shadow could be considered Dr. Eggman's uncle.
Let's not go there, please.
I want to go there because I just find that idea hilarious to me. And yes, Shadow is technically 50 years old.
Yeah. He's the youngest adult here.
Yeah. So, they introduce new abilities with Shadow, such as Chaos Control, where he can take a Chaos Emerald and then either teleport, freeze time, time travel, cause massive explosions, or, whatever the plot wants that episode.
Yeah. Whereas Sonic is pure speed and, well, let's be honest, that's generally all he has.
He's pure speed and pure reaction, which doesn't sound very good, but the dude can react at, like, supersonic speed, so that's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's really the best edge Sonic has in this fight. In terms
Hmm.
of physical strength, combat, and chaos control, because Sonic can do limited chaos control with an Emerald.
Yeah, he learns how to do that in this game, and it amazes Shadow because until this point, only Shadow's been able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Shadow thought he'd be the only one who could do that forever.
Yeah, I think there's something to do with him,
Yeah.
Sonic being able to go supersonic connection with that.
Hmm.
Like I said, this is a lot of hand wavy stuff for this series.
Yeah. Oop.
But
Uh, and well, let's just get out of the way. If Knuckles is considered the Piccolo of the franchise, Shadow is definitely the Vegeta of the franchise. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He won't shut up about his heritage,
yeah,
and
he calls himself the ultimate life form.
which everyone basically just agrees with, and they hand wave what that means. But it's implied that he's at least eternally young, if not immortal.
And the bands on his arms and legs, yeah, they're limiters.
Yeah.
So he's doing all this while being limiting himself.
Going back to design, his soap shoes have little rockets on the bottom. He's not as fast as Sonic, but he can fly with them, which lets him catch up to Sonic's speed.
Which also raises the question if he can react as fast as Sonic or not, which that's gone back and forth.
It has. I always rationalize it as no, he can't.
Yeah, I would say he's the closest character we have.
Yeah, he's definitely the closest in Sonic's speed and reaction time. But Sonic needs an edge, otherwise it's not a fair fight.
Yeah. So I would give Sonic the edge in reaction speed and just flat out speed. Combat wise, it's all Shadow.
So, you know what the franchise has been missing?
What's that?
Boobs.
Yay, boobs.
So this is Rouge the Bat. She is the third member of the Dark Team.
She is our treasure hunter. And the reason why Knuckles is half the time an idiot.
Yeah, yeah. She was trying to steal the Master Emerald. Eggman found them fighting over it, smashed the Emerald by mistake, trying to get it away from. Well, Knuckles smashed it because he couldn't let Rouge or Knuckles get it. She joins Eggman for various reasons. The first is, well, he's going to take over the world. That means he has to get the Chaos Emeralds, and I like shiny gems. The other reason is she's a double agent. She works for Gun.
Yeah. And still
Which
steals, so.
I really get the impression she's only working for Gun in order to get access to more shinies. Which is
Yeah.
another thing they kind of have and drop with her constantly, but I like the idea of her as a aid to the heroes and the villains, but has her own motives.
To be fair, she knows that if the world goes bye-bye, she's going to have less shiny things to collect.
She also
So-
is well, considering she has a giant pink heart on her chest, the heart of the Dark Team. She's the one who gives them some morals.
Yeah, she's not murder happy or anything like that. I mean, if
Yeah.
she can steal her stuff and not hurt anybody, she'll rather go that route.
And yes, in game, her ears and her chest kind of wiggle.
Physics, ladies and gentlemen, physics.
Yeah. So she actually is the first one to ever get Shadow to show he has some kindness in him. Because at one point they're trying to steal the emeralds, and the place she is going to steal it from locks down, and is going to self-destruct. She radios for help, and Shadow's like, well, it's your own dang fault. And then he stops and thinks for a few seconds, and he rescues her. It wasn't going to help the mission, because it's pretty much implied the emeralds would have survived the explosion.
Yeah, those things are somewhat indestructible compared to the Master Emerald, apparently.
Yeah, somewhat. I don't really quite understand it. Like, the Master Emerald apparently shatters really easily in 2 games, and then never ever again.
Then again, it's never really come up after this one, as far as I know. So go figure that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Shadow rescues Rouge.
Rouge.
Rouge. Yeah, she's named after the cosmetic.
Yes. Which, she's the first one to really show wearing makeup, so.
Yeah.
So, this, ignore what did you call it, the background, Soul?
The gray alien with the wig.
Yes, the gray alien in the background. This is Gerald Robotnik. This is the creator of Shadow. It's also the way the Japanese were introduced to the name Robotnik.
And also Eggman's grandfather. I don't see the family resemblance at all.
I don't see the family resemblance in his Aunt Maria, who is...
I mean, you can't tell me that does not look like a gray alien trying to wear a wig to blend in to be human.
Aunt or granddaughter? I forget what Maria was to Gerald Robotnik.
I think that was
Not aunt or daughter. Daughter or granddaughter? Jeez,
Yeah,
I'm
I
dying.
think
Something.
it's granddaughter
I think so. Yeah.
because either way,
Yeah.
important family member to him.
So yeah, she had a weird medical disease and was brought up to Gerald's space colony Ark
Yeah, she has what I
to.
like to call plotism.
She's got the deadly plotism disease. It kills whenever the plot wants it to.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very. It's either highly contagious or not contagious at all.
Yeah.
But
Um.
the, Gerald is the one who told Shadow to gather the emeralds for revenge because,
Yeah. Remember GUN?
yeah, they wanted to shut down Shadow's project, tore apart the lab, locked up the good Professor Gerald Robotnik, and shot poor Maria, and then froze Shadow.
Yeah, I will say this one. There's a lot more going on here than we even know
Mm-hmm.
about at this time, but I don't know if that was intentionally planned or they threw this in the later game.
Yeah, through the later game.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this game, Shadow is doing all this for revenge, as it's Maria's wish for revenge. No, we find out later why he's like that, because Maria wanted Shadow to protect the world.
Mm-hmm. Now, her age is up in the air. With
She is going on.
I want to say the game kind of makes her look somewhere in her early teens.
Yeah, I'd say preteen to 14 at most.
Yeah. I would give the oldest 16. That's the oldest I would give it.
Fair enough.
But
Also, she just looks better in art rather than the game models, because, oh god, the game models, she looks so terrifying.
take me to your leader. And she is adorable. I will give her that.
Yeah. Shadow basically grew up alongside her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's. And when Gerald got captured, he somehow reprogrammed Shadow to take the memories of her line to protect the world, to destroy the world for revenge.
Yeah, he's got memory issues.
Mm-hmm.
This won't be the last time that comes up, folks.
No, he also wasn't the first ultimate life form. This is the prototype, the Bio-Lizard.
Yeah, that's the arc on his back.
No, that's not the Arcanabag. That's his life support system.
Yeah, maybe I really don't remember this
He
game that
he
well.
attaches to the Arc later on.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the. So there's a whole kit and caboodle going on, but essentially what happens is they gather the Chaos Emeralds to power the Eclipse cannon in the space colony Arc, because I don't know why the colony Arc had a giant laser on it. We do find out later why it does that, but in universe we don't know why at this time. Eggman blows up over the moon, which from then on out is half destroyed. Never ever as it gets repaired.
And we never have any tidal waves or anything to worry about because of that.
Actually, the joke I was going for is to come next game, the moon is perfectly normal. He blew up half the moon. They never registered that. I'm sorry. That's gonna bug me for the rest of my life. Is you can't just like hand wave half the moon.
Well, go talk to Piccolo.
Anyway, they used 2 or 3 emeralds to blow up the heart of the moon, threaten the Earth, and hey, make Eggman leader of the world or we'll destroy everything. Which Eggman's kind of like, wait, if we destroy everything, how can I rule the world? I'll have a big gun pointed at them. They'll do what I say.
He's not wrong.
But the real plan was to have all 7 force the Ark to crash into the Earth, pulling a Gundam and destroying all life on Earth, because that's what Gerald Robotnik wanted.
Works.
Rouge is there to try and figure out what the actual plan is. She discovers that, hey, there was a Project Shadow before Shadow. It's this. Shadow has a little bit of, like, am I the real Shadow?
Yeah, that'll come up later, folks.
That comes up a lot for him. And Sonic is just trying to stop Dr. Eggman and unframe himself. Get himself on cleared for his name from Shadow framing him. And Tails is there to help along, and they bump into Knuckles along the road. That's the story of the game. And
yeah, they were kind of like brother and sister, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, she got gunned down right in front of him too.
Yeah, that doesn't damage your motivations. I don't know what would.
So yeah, it does. It's not that out of range for him to be pissed at all times, and not to trust people, because well, his family got destroyed by people that you're supposed to trust.
Then again, he makes friends with the thief and a murder bot, so go figure.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But like I said, when with Shadow's help, not Shadow's help, when all the heroes team up and the villains team up to stop the colony from dropping on Earth, the biohazard shows up. Shadow fights the bio lizard. Bio lizard then fuses with the colony to finish the job, even though they've stopped the fall. The lizard is now tugging the colony to Earth. Don't know how that works. So with 7 emeralds in hand, Shadow and Sonic become Super Sonic, Super Shadow, which, yeah, I actually kind of like this boss fight.
I do like the different coloring in their furs for this too.
Yeah, they kind of flip flop on what color Shadow is supposed to be. Shadow's on the left, Sonic's on the right. And yes, again, the reference Dragon Ball Z. This is just ripping off Super Saiyan.
Yeah, but then again, I don't know what other names you could have given besides Golden Hedgehog or whatever.
What about Silver Hedgehog?
I will smack you with this stick.
There's a stick. But during the whole thing, Shadow falls to Earth, having used up all his power, and dies, and everyone mourns the loss of the guy who almost killed the entire planet. Granted, it was against his will because he was misprogrammed. But then we go on to the next game. This is the real awkward child of the Adventure franchise.
This was both a delight and horrible project at the same time, I want to say.
Yeah. This is all about the superpower of teamwork.
So basically, you were split into 4 teams of 3?
Yeah, 4 teams of 3. They run the exact same levels, because in the last 2 games, in Sonic Adventure 1, everyone does the same stages, but they're redesigned. Sonic Adventure 2, no. Each team has their own story missions. Each their own little levels, and that's about it. This one, you redo the same stage 4 times. There are some tweaks. Team Sonic has the normal mode. Team Rose has easy mode. They're shorter and less problems. Team Chaotic, we'll talk about in a minute, they have weird missions like collect 200 rings, collect 20 hermit crabs. If you don't find them, you have to loop the entire stage. And Team Dark have the longest version of the stage with the most enemies. It's the hard mode.
Mm-hmm. Nothing too hard, but you'll notice.
Yeah. In this story, the Master Emerald's not mentioned, so Knuckles just is there.
And Tails follows Sonic almost anywhere.
Yep.
In this one, you also have team attacks.
Yeah. Also different team formations. If Sonic is in lead, you go faster. Mm-hmm. If Knuckles is in lead, Knuckles attaches Sonic and Tails to his fist like boxing gloves and beats up bad guys.
And can throw them really, really hard.
Yeah. If Tails is in lead, he's holding Knuckles and Sonic by his legs and flying them around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we forgot to mention, Tails can fly by spinning his tails like a helicopter.
It is the most fascinating thing from Sonic 2 that I ever like to watch.
Mm-hmm. So, the story is Eggman once again is causing shenanigans, and Sonic is challenged to stop him. Sonic goes to stop him. Amy hears about this. She convinces Big and Cream the Rabbit, who we haven't talked about, to help because Cream's pet Chow Chocola and Froggy have gone missing, so that's Team Rose's story. She's after following Sonic and trying to help them, but she's really more using them to chase after Sonic.
Yeah, like I said, she's kind of creepy with that.
That being said, though, she does help them find their friends, so... Team Chaotic, who is... If you've ever played Knuckles Chaotix, which I never knew about as a kid growing up, these guys just came off completely left field.
Yeah, I was going to say, this was their second appearance.
Yeah. The first appearance, they're just friends of Knuckles. Now they're just detectives, so I don't even think they talk to Knuckles at all.
Charmy is the bee that's on top.
He's like 5.
Yeah, I cannot remember the other 2 for the life of me right now.
Espio the Chameleon, Vector the Crocodile.
Thank you.
Going back to Team Rose, Cream is like 6 or 8, where everyone else is like... Tails is 10.
Yeah, what's Child Endangerment?
Amy is like 13, Sonic and Knuckles and the rest of them are pretty much 16 to 20 to 50 in Shadow's case. But yeah, Vector I think is in his 20s. He's the head of the detective agency. Espio is the speed member of the team. He's an actual ninja.
Motherfucker.
Charmy is just a child tag-along, at the most child tag-along.
You notice that all the flyers are the youngest?
Technically, no. In Team Dark, which is the middle one. Omega, the big robot's the baby. Yeah, Rouge sneaks into an Eggman lab, finds Shadow in a pod, and wakes up Omega, who is pissed off that he was locked up in a lab and tries to destroy all Eggman robots. I'm just gonna say this: Omega is the best character from Heroes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wasn't he just generally pissed off that there are other robots out there when he thinks he's the perfect robot?
He's generally pissed off because A, he thinks he's the best robot. B, he was told to guard nothing. And C, Eggman keeps replacing him. Pretty much forgot about him.
Well, D, I think it's all the above, and I agree with him.
Mm. Omega is just a laugh, right? He's deadpan. Um, his one of his attacks to fire Rouge and Shadow like fucking cannons from his arms, cannonballs. Ah,
To be fair, one of his best talks is with Shadow when they start bonding as friends, or as
yeah.
close as close as he's Omega's gonna have the friends.
See, my biggest problem, the biggest waste of potential with Sonic Heroes is they don't keep the dynamic of these three characters. Everyone else, like Team Sonic, they're always going to have their dynamic. Team Rose, well, Big kind of disappears after this game, never to reappear.
I'm sure you're
Besides the
devastated by that.
besides spin-offs and whatnot, or background shots. Cream is just a little girl who looks up to Amy, and Amy takes care of her. These three are a detective agency. They work together, so of course, if you're going to see one, you might see the rest of them. But Deep Dark, they don't do enough with this because they bring out the best in each other.
I mean,
Go
it
ahead.
kind of the thing about it was the story that they're telling. I don't think when they made the next game, they don't really plan continuity that well.
No,
They're
they
more
it's
concerned with
clearly
the current story,
yeah.
and that's going to come up in the last game we're going to talk
Yeah.
about for this.
Heroes is also the one that connects the best to its sequel, which some people really hate the sequel. I view the sequel slightly different than most people. But anyway, they find out along the way that Eggman's not actually the villain, it's his ultimate creation, Metal Sonic, or Neo Metal Sonic.
Yeah, I will admit the Metal Sonics are actually one of my favorite things about the Sonic series.
Mhm. It's an evil robot duplicate of Sonic that somehow became magnetically more powerful, locked up Eggman. Eggman managed to hire Team KX to free him.
Oh, it can also pull a T-1000, melt into a pile of goo, transform into other things.
Like Dr. Eggman.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it captured Cream and Froggy, Cream's pet Chow Chocola and Froggy to gain data from Chaos to control its liquid form better. It's copying everyone else running around to become the Metal Overlord. Which I'm just gonna say this is a small side note. This is see, Knuckles and Tails are in safety bubbles because Sonic went super and it's just dragging them along. Despite the fact these two have super forms in other games.
Yeah, I honestly think Tails the Super Form is the stupidest of them.
What with the flickies?
Yeah,
I like those flickies.
but that's personal opinion.
Yes.
But it
Yeah.
does feel underutilized.
This story is basically the closest to a Saturday morning cartoon.
Entirely, yeah. I mean, honestly, the entire Sonic series feels like a Saturday franchise, which at
Like
one point it did have one.
yeah, it's
Two
had
of them,
several.
actually.
Sonic Adventure 2 actually feels the most like it's trying to be a more adult, more aged story. Not adult, but more mature.
Mm.
It even ends with them beating the evil out of Metal Sonic, and he goes back to normal, which is Eggman's flunky levels normal.
Which
My
is
only
still
question,
evil, so we didn't exactly accomplish that much.
no, they just beat the I'm taking over the world evil of him. Now he's just a silent flunky who doesn't show up at all for the rest of the Adventure franchise.
Which saddens me.
I'm also confused why Omega isn't crushing it.
Like, I would have loved for a 3D Sonic versus Metal Sonic fight.
Yes. But one of the things they find out, which is there's a cloning lab of shadows, filled with shadows. And Rouge is now confused if the shadow she's been running with is the real deal or a fake.
Yeah, that plot hole kind of
It gets really not
stupid.
solved and solved at the same time. It's bad. A lot of people to this day still don't know, but I'm just gonna say no. Yes, the shadow in this game is the real deal. He's somehow Eggman found his body, repaired him, and then started cloning him.
Yeah, see, the thing is like robots have access to the Chaos Emeralds as well, so you can't use that to differentiate organic from non-organic.
Yeah.
So that still left things up in the air with Shadow.
Omega, however, lets Rouge know that the original has to be out there somewhere, so don't fret so much about it. And then it's heavily implied he smashed that cloning lab with all the clones inside of it.
With his fists.
Which leads us to the next game, which is the most controversial of the Adventure franchise, and some people's most controversial Sonic game ever, Shadow the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Or as some people like to put it, just remove the S, the H, the A, and the D, and just go ow, and then remove the H, and the H, and the O, and the G, and just go ow the edge.
To be fair, they at least tried to hit on someone's popularity at the time it was actually there.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike some other games that kind of came too late.
Mm-hmm.
But this somewhat followed the Adventure series formula, mostly from
Yeah.
2 in a way.
Yes. There's multiple endings, multiple story branches. We'll discuss why that failed, but
Yeah.
the marketing for this game was very.
Yeah, a lot of the Sonic games have very good marketing. I will give them that.
Yeah.
But
And yes, throughout the game, Shadow is capable of using handguns, which is a big deal. I mean, no one in the Sonic franchise has ever used guns before. Never, ever, 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 ever. Never.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's not a gun. That's a plane.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get the point.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much of him using the guns that I found
No.
to be a problem. It was more the, I guess you could call it, he drove vehicles which felt wonky and kind of pointless because in fact he's almost as fast as Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So technically he should be faster than any of these land vehicles.
I always took it along the lines of, you know what, I want to rest my leg for a few minutes.
I could go along with that, but I'm just saying it's like in the middle of combat you want to use your best abilities, and it felt like this was kind of pointless to me.
Well, my biggest problem is he's using gun vehicles. Gun is all adult humans.
Yeah, fair point.
How is he fitting on a bike like that?
My other thing
But
is like the gun aim mechanics felt wonky to me.
I never even bothered using the guns unless the game forced me to for certain
Like,
missions.
I mean, look, when you got the melee weapons, that they felt kind of more usable.
Mm-hmm.
But try to use the guns, especially when you got a homing attack.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it was not him using the guns; it was the mechanics of the guns that always kind of felt off to me.
The biggest difference between this and the rest of the franchise is this is the only Sonic game, which I don't call it a Sonic game, I call it the Shadow game, where Shadow is the only playable character. Other characters do show up, and if you have a second controller, you can homage Sonic 2 and have someone control the background character.
See, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, no one played this with anybody else.
Wasn't this also on the PS2?
PS2, Xbox, and GameCube.
Okay, so it wasn't all 3 major consoles at the time.
Side note, so was Sonic Heroes. Don't play the PS2 version of Sonic Heroes.
Oh yeah, we'll discuss that later on because there's an even worse game with glitches.
Yep. So, the story of this one is all about Shadow's origin and how he is either a hero or a villain. And this is his dad. Yeah, this is a space alien that Gerald Robotnik got DNA from to help make the perfect ultimate life form. This is Black Doom. Yeah, this game is not subtle in the naming of its monsters.
No, and
Yeah.
you kind of question where he came from, what his motivations are.
Yeah, he and his army, the Black Arms aliens, are invading whatever the planet's called. They never actually named Sonic's world.
I think they just call it Earth.
They don't even name it. They
Oh,
say we're here to
Mobius, wasn't
invade.
it?
Nope, that is not a name the Japanese have ever used.
Really?
That's the thing the Western creators came up with because no one in Sega had any forethought. So it's not even called Earth. It's not even called Mobius. It most likely is called Earth, but in the sense of that's just a name. Like technically, Earth might even be Earth's name. We might want to call it Terra instead.
Well, anyway,
Yeah,
he's here to invade, and he's a cult
Yeah.
leader. What it looks like.
Yeah, he has an army of aliens that are invading Earth, and most of the missions are either help him destroy shit or help gun stop him. Real riveting binary choices.
Yeah.
If you ever thought Commander Shepard's Rogue and Renegade and Paragon stuff were very
Basic,
watered down, this is just terrible.
which did not do the game because that was kind of one of the huge advertising points for the game,
Yeah,
and it just
be a
fell
hero,
flat.
be a villain. There's also a true neutral path, which the true neutral path is the least canon of them all, and it leads to Shadow thinking he's a robot.
Beep boop.
Yeah, he thinks he's the ultimate Shadow the Hedgehog android clone robot. Like, that's one of my problems. Are the Shadows clones or are they robots? Eggman just kind of says they're androids.
Which just
But also-
raises further questions.
They're also included in cloning pods, so I've got no idea. So yeah, he came to Gerald Robotnik when he was hitting a brick wall with his immortality program.
Which you kind of question how he knew about the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah. So the deal was, I'll give you my DNA. You can sequence your ultimate weapon, which will be part of the Black Arms. Shadow is technically half alien. And you give me the Chaos Emeralds years later. The reason why there was a death laser on the Space Colony Ark is Gerald's like, I agree to your plan. I'm going to make a weapon to destroy him when he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game tries to paint Gerald Robotnik as a good guy.
Here's the other thing. I believe this is why Gunn invaded in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't see have any problem with his immortality program, but as soon as you start making aliens and making giant space lasers, someone's going to notice in the budget.
Yeah, and I kind of don't complain about Gunn. I complain about their actions with a 12-year-old. But
Yeah.
trying to take over the station where an alien was plotting world domination, I can't hold like that one against him.
No. Also, trying to make Gerald a good guy retroactively after he tried to destroy the world
So
doesn't fly. So throughout the story, you can pick how Shadow ends up going, and
I would you like to,
eventually-
if you could just go back for 1 second.
Oh, sure.
This is also one more forward, please.
Sorry.
No problem. This is also what a lot of plot users use, and for some it works, is that memory is only by perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So this could be from anyone's perspective, saying Maria would see her grandfather as a good person, trying to cure her disease. Another person who knows what's going on may see Gerald for an evil villain.
Mm-hmm.
So memory can be used a lot of times to portray two different aspects of a person.
Yep. One of the new characters in this game, which I didn't bother showing, but I just remembered just now, is the Gun Commander. He was a 10-year-old on Space Colony Ark when it got invaded, and he blames Shadow for it. So he's been looking for any opportunity to destroy Shadow, even though it was Gun who killed Maria. And
So there's
they were trying to do the whole memory is fuzzy and they're two sides of every coin, but they did it so poorly that fans were left very confused by it.
Yeah, there was just not. It wasn't well written by any
No.
stretch of the word.
Again, really good ideas. It just feels like they published the first draft rather than the, actual.
Yeah,
edited
I mean, it
drafts.
had a strong start. I will give it that.
Has good ideas. I like the idea of Shadow as origin being really out of this world, literally.
And I like Shadow not being as. Well, he was never as carefree and happy as Sonic. Because
No.
Sonic would take care of this all an entirely different way.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the idea that Shadow is not a Sonic clone per se. Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me, per se. And handling things in an entirely different manner. But when you don't have that first piece of the puzzle taken care of that well, which is the story,
Mm-hmm.
from point A to the end,
Yeah.
you're going to run into issues even with good gameplay. Because good gameplay can be a useful tool for a game.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the original Mario Brothers. Look at the original Sonic game.
Mm-hmm.
The story was bare bones, but the gameplay was good. I will grant you that.
Oh, yeah.
I won't argue this because the proof is literally right there in front of us. But when you're trying to tell a story, and we know you're trying to tell a story because clearly here it is, you got to make a little bit of sense with this.
Yeah.
Even if you're fracturing the story to tell a completely different options with it.
Hmm.
So, yeah,
Also, one of the problems with this game is you need to get all endings in order to get the true ending, and some of these endings are so completely non-canon to each other
yeah,
or
and we'll
impossible to
get to
have.
that in a moment.
Yeah, but once you get the true ending, Black Doom gets upset and turns into a giant monster,
Well, of
and
course, because they all do.
all of Sonic's, I mean Shadow's friends, totally not ripping off how Sonic does things, cheer Shadow on in the distance while he's gone super form to save the day. Which it's more yellow now. I kind of prefer it with more silver.
Eh,
But I do like the animation for Super Shadow in the cutscenes of this game.
I mean, I do like how he has the red highlights and everything in him that kind of offset the gold.
Yeah. So here is the the number of
Essentially, the
right.
roadmap to his story.
Each of the circles on the right is either a good or evil ending. So even the stages at the end have two options. So in order to get to say this stage, you had to do the I think this is the good ending. In order to get to this stage, you have to do the good ending again, or if you do the bad one, you go here.
Hmm.
There is no neutral ending, so no, there is a neutral ending for
Yeah,
some
but
stages,
you got to go
not
back
all
and forth,
stages.
back and forth, back and forth,
Yeah,
and
if you want to get to this ending, you have to start all the way back here every single time.
yeah, you have to play the game at least 10 different times to get every ending to the special ending.
Yeah. Now on the plus side, you didn't have to do every stage. Like you could just do like every time. You never have to touch these two stages if you
Yeah,
don't want to.
but that being said, I've heard of repeating the game a few times to get the true ending.
Mm-hmm.
10 times is a little much.
Mm-hmm. And a handful of these stages are just horrendous. And the missions for good and evil are sometimes find the Chaos Emerald, defeat so many Black Arms, defeat so many Gun. Sometimes it's like, don't touch this, heal
Hmm.
all these people. It was really
And
some
like
of
I said, remember how I said the gun aiming was wonky?
the. Hmm.
That did not help the fight the certain enemies on one side or the other missions
Yeah.
because they're
Sometimes you
going
have.
on at the same time.
Yeah. Now, every time you go into a stage, you have either the choice of Black Doom or a hero, or Eggman and a hero to be your, voice behind you. And if you choose, say, Sonic to follow you around the stage he's in, and you start doing the evil side, he starts bitching at you, which I do like that detail.
I kind of don't, only because it's Sonic. He would do more than berate you.
You're fair about that. But I also kind of wish you could have the option of turning them off and stop having them follow you, because sometimes when you redo stage one, you're going to have Sonic and Black Doom's lines burnt into your head.
I I would have preferred it if you're gonna give us the heroes and you're gonna start doing villainous things.
Hmm.
You can incorporate those as other boss fights.
Yeah, you fight Sonic as a boss several times when you do the dark ending at the last stages.
But that's waiting till the end. If
Hmm.
Shadow was doing just say the pure evil and Sonic knows what's going on, I think he would have tried to step in sooner, unless stated he was
Yeah,
busy doing something else.
yeah, which he is trying to help the world fight off Black Arms.
But at the same
But
time, he comes across Shadow, he's hearing all these things Shadow's doing. You might want to do a little bit more than just berate the guy.
now, one of the problems I have with this is, let's say you keep the neutral path. When you get to about here, Black Arms is gone. They don't even mention Black Arms, but you're just facing off against Eggman and the Shadow clones. And these endings have Shadow fight Eggman. Both good and evil neutral endings have him fight Eggman and declare himself to be the ultimate android. This cannot be canon because the true ending, Shadow knows who he is. So this entire middle path
Here's a question for you.
shouldn't even exist. Hmm?
Did it ever explain what happened to Black Doom, or does he just go poof as well?
He's just not mentioned. They just stopped talking about him.
Maybe Sonic did something with him.
We don't know. Like this ending is just so like last minute. It was designed for people who were confused by the Shadow being a clone or android, and it just made things worse. Because we don't know which of these paths is technically canon. We just know the last story is canon. So we just know story 8 and story 1.
which
That's it.
is why I also have the problem with you joining up the heroes or the villains. Well, less the villains, more the heroes.
Hmm.
Because at some point they probably would have stepped in a lot sooner if they hear about all the evil you're doing, or you're, siding with the invading aliens, and they just go, "Oh, hey, could you please stop doing that? Hey, you're not supposed to do that. Hey, I'm this super awesome adventure guy that can save the world a couple of times, but I won't dare try and stop you in your current evil ways."
Yep. Oh, by the way, this is the last time Gunk shows up at all.
Yeah,
Let's run to the next game.
this
No,
train wreck.
no, just because this is Sonic the Hedgehog, also known as Sonic 06, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, or Sonic the Trainwreck.
Yeah, I mean, you do actually can cause a little train wreck in this game.
Oh yeah. This is the last of the 3D adventure games. They bring back the hub system from Game 1,
Mm-hmm.
and there are 3 stories with multiple playable characters in each story. You have Sonic Story, Shadow Story, and Trunks the Hedgehog. Guy be Silver the Future Boy.
I mean, that guy over there.
Yeah. Silver the Hedgehog is the new character, new hero at this game.
And at times can be
And
as dumb as Knuckles or actually intelligent.
yeah. And also he breaks the mold of the Hedgehog characters. He's probably the slowest character in the game, and it frustrates a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Poor Silver actually deserved a better game to debut in. There are still people to this day who hate the guy, even though you can't really blame him. He's a decent character. Not my favorite.
He also looks like a pot leaf when you look
Oh,
straight
yeah,
at
does.
him.
So, Sonic Story is about him protecting this Princess Elise from Dr. Eggman, who wants to release a giant monster inside of her. My god, Eggman, stop poking Pandora's box.
I would just like to point out that this is the dumbest safeguard ever for imprisoning a demonic force.
Uh-huh.
So basically, in order to release the evil being, they just have to make her cry. How the hell have you not seen a baby? I have so
Yeah,
many questions about how she made it to the
she was like she's like a 6-year-old when the demon gets caught in her after her dad died. So she did cry at her dad's funeral. She didn't cry at anything. Like,
Dude, a 6-year-old, you scrape her knee and she's gonna start bawling her eyes out. You can kiss my ass on that one.
I mean, I know some ladies who would enter ladyhood cry at their first period, so I'm surprised by that. Oh, I decided to come and join me. Yeah,
And she
Princess
managed to
Elise
make it to
is-
what, 16?
Yeah, Princess Elise is also the worst character in Sonic franchise, if you ask me. Mostly because she's a romantic character for Sonic.
I blame more the writing than I blame the character in that one. I know that sounds weird for a CGI game or well,
Yeah,
a
no,
game, but
it's also like the biggest Princess Peach in terms of let's get kidnapped every 5 goddamn minutes.
and we do mean every 5 goddamn minutes.
Yeah, multiple times, not if you count all the stories.
It also feels the weirdest because her kingdom somewhat feels kind of medieval when you first get there.
It's kind of like Venice.
Yeah, I mean it was
But-
great fireworks display. I'll give it that.
The second biggest sin of this game is the redesign of Dr. Eggman.
I'm starting to see where a lot of the design for Eggman for Sonic movies came from.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
I can't blame them because it's something a little bit more workable
Yeah.
for a human. But
Ugh.
I mean, to be fair, at least he doesn't have noodly legs.
Yeah, I suppose. So, as you can see, the pot leaf of Silver's head and his psychic abilities. Yeah, he can't run like Sonic can, but he can hover with psychic abilities and throw things. Also, that tornado is carrying a car. You're going to hear that line a lot.
So you might be wondering what Silver's actual story is.
He's from the future.
Okay, remember that demonic force that was imprisoned inside the princess? Yeah, it got loose, caused world devastation. Silver's trying to came from the future to try and prevent the cataclysm, or the catalyst for the cataclysm.
The Iblis Trigger, which he has been told is Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So Silver and his best friend Blaze the Hedgehog, Blaze the Cat, Blaze the Time Traveler, Blaze the Ultimate Reality Person, Blaze the... I have no idea what they're trying to do with Blaze the Cat.
Yeah, but
But yeah, Blaze is the Sonic of Silver storyline. She's got the speed. She's got the best gameplay in his mode.
did you play as
Honestly,
her in '06?
you can, yes. At several points, she's playable for
Okay,
story purposes.
I really do not remember this
She
gameplay.
handles like Sonic and Shadow do. That's why I said Blaze the
Okay,
Hedgehog as a joke.
so
Side
I
note:
just did
Blaze
not
was
remember that well.
first introduced in a DS game, Sonic Rush, where she's from an alternate timeline or an alternate universe, and Silver's not mentioned. So her origin story is so confusing to the fan base. Is she a princess from another universe, or is she from the future?
Look, I'm
She
just gonna
can't
say
speak.
it this way, and I think Sal put him the best. Multiverse Theory is a bitch
I know,
because she's also royalty. She's a princess too.
but not in the Silver story. This one,
No,
yeah, she has pyrokinesis. That's what lets her run so fast.
I just kind of like she had something different to make her move fast.
Hmm. But this is what they're facing off in the future: the Iblis. It's a giant fire monster who totally isn't a fire version of Chaos.
Not at all. Don't know where you got that idea from.
Yeah, lava and rock,
I
and yeah,
don't see the connection whatsoever. I mean,
it's
this,
totally yeah, all over again, only lamer.
yeah, this game did not have long, strong suits.
No, it's also glitchy as all heck. But this is the interesting character to get introduced. They once again did a shadow clone right after the whole debacle, but at least this one's interesting. His name is Mephiles.
At least we know this is a clone.
Yes, and he's downright creepy. He feels like, to me, whenever I see him, I think he's from Majora's Mask
You know, he
in terms
probably
of
fit right in.
in terms of levels of creepiness. He is also the one that gets Silver traveling through time, and I mean, totally, you should trust a guy with no mouth who whisper talks everything and just kind of, well, leans in close like that when talking to somebody.
Wasn't he the one that had some connection with the demon inside of the princess?
Iblis is his body, Mephiles is the brain. The two are been separated,
Okay,
and
that's
if
what it
they
was.
ever reconnect, they'll become the true destructive force. Iblis is just destructive fire. Mephiles is just, well, he's named after Mephistopheles, or as some people better know him as Mephisto. Yeah, tr- totally should trust someone who names himself after Mephistopheles, the
Like
king
I
of lies.
said, Silver's not the brightest bulb.
Blaze just goes along because she's trying to protect Silver, but she does not trust Mephiles in most cutscenes.
I mean,
But
Silver is
we don't,
somewhat hesitant, but he's not
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, we don't see anyone else in the future besides these three.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, seeing another survivor with no mouth, apparently not having any issues surviving this world, I'd raise a couple of flags.
Yeah. So this is Mephiles' true form, which I think is wasted in this game.
Yeah. I mean, I like the glowing eyes in this.
I like how he's made of crystal.
Yeah, the crystal spikes, the glowing eyes, and the claws, crystal claws. It's a nice design.
Yeah. So his whole shtick is he wants to release Iblis early and going through time travel, recombine with him sooner, so that he can take his real form and destroy the world. Also, just to fuck with people. He's just evil, and it's kind of refreshing.
Yeah. I mean, we know Eggman's evil, but
Yeah.
has yet to be the true evil in the game yet. Again,
But yeah, you get to go to three timelines, in 3 points of time in this game: the distant future where Iblis destroyed everything, the present, and the past. In the past, Silver and Shadow go back further after Silver finds out that Mephiles is not on his side.
gee, who knew?
Yeah. Uh, the god Solaris, which is the true form of these two combined, is about to be released poorly, so Silver and Shadow split up. Silver puts Iblis inside Princess Elise because he has no other choice but to, and Shadow traps Mephiles in a scepter, and that's why Mephiles looks like Shadow. He saw Shadow do this, took his form, and then when he shows up in the present, Shadow has no idea he is because you're playing Shadow when he first gets out.
You're playing past Shadow in the future and future Shadow in the past. Time travel,
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, it gets confusing, but at least there's no time paradoxes.
Don't give them any ideas. Don't give them any ideas.
Oh, and Mephiles' ability when he fights is to make clones of himself. So even more Shadow clones.
I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus.
I am the Lizard Green. However, one Mephiles gets away and kills Sonic. So Sonic's entire story has been protecting Elise, and he doesn't bump into Mephiles, I don't think.
I don't think he even knew who this guy was until he got blasted. I don't think he even saw him
Yep,
then.
yep. And this is what causes poor Elise to finally cry. Not the death of her father, not the destruction of her kingdom, not any physical trauma she's experienced growing up. It's her boyfriend dying, who, with Iblis free, Mephiles gets to become his true form, Solaris. And Solaris is a god of time, so he starts destroying time and space.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also looks like the crest from the royal family of Hyrule.
Well, they did a lot of time in the Zelda series too, so why not?
Hmm.
All we need now is
So,
the Epoch fly across in the background. It'll be a perfect trifecta.
yeah. So, the final stage of this game is all the characters you've played as so far, except for Blaze, because she died in the future.
Well, spoilers, man.
Gather the Chaos Emeralds and bring Sonic back to life with the help of Elise's Kiss. I'm letting Soul throw up now.
Yeah, just move on. I'm not even thinking about it.
And the three of them become Super Hedgehogs, which, small side note, I get that it's thematic for have Silver be super, but he's never been super before. Why not pick Knuckles or Tails? They've got experience being super.
Why not take them all?
Yeah, why
They
not?
literally state that chaos energy is limitless. Why stop at 3?
Yeah. And the three team up to beat uh, Solaris because Shadow represents the past, Sonic represents the present, Silver future. He keeps changing forms so he's immune to attacks from the past, from the present, and the future. It's weird, but actually not that bad of a final fight.
No, but now she just knows because like it's always constantly the present. So this is kind of a stupid.
Yeah, I know. It's supposed to represent that they're fighting in a place with no time.
I'm not even. Just move on, please.
Now let's talk about the actual rest of the game.
Okay, first of all, this game is heavy with glitches.
Yeah, some of them are actually pretty damn funny. You break dance on a box, the box will fly into the heavens.
Yeah, the first major glitch I ran into when I first fought Silver. It's no use. It's no use. It's no use. God damn it! That was only a music for like 2 minutes.
Hang on. Yeah, Silver fights Sonic and throws him against the wall with psychic powers. You can get yourself locked into getting caught and thrown constantly.
And as with most games, your rings are your health. And what will happen is when you fall back down, you'll pick up a ring, he'll pick you back up, throw you again, you'll pick up a ring, and it'll just be a constant repeat of annoyance. Because
Yeah,
you
this
keep
is
saying
not.
that line every time he throws you.
Or if he gets you just right at the right angle, you can leave the skybox and fly forever.
Yeah, if you ever want a good showing of this, go check out.
And Brain Scratch Comms, they do a lot of
Thank you.
good Sonic 06 stuff.
Yeah, Brain Scratch did this. They did the. I think they
They've done
did both
multiple times.
glitches with that Shadow.
Oh, yeah.
Or Silver, I mean.
Yeah. Also, they do a loop of Silver getting kicked in the back of the head by Sonic. My Shadow. Oh, it's so good. I just love Shadow kicking Silver in the back of the head.
But that's just the start of the glitches on this one.
Yeah.
There's a
You
lot
will,
of gameplay mechanics that are broken.
you will fall through floors. Weapons, some of Shadow's vehicles don't work. Some of basic mechanics don't. Sonic's power-ups don't work in the sense of they're always at full power forever.
Yeah.
Sonic can just jump from one to the map to the other.
The
Like I say,
lock-on attack is a mess in this for
oh
some
god,
reason.
homing text. Yeah. Uh, you can play as Omega at one point, and he has a hover which slowly descends. If you rapidly tap the A button, he never descends, so he can glitch through walls and get to weird places. Knuckles can end stages that he's not supposed to be able to end. This game is,
A mess.
well, it's a mess. It's as if Sonic Team tried to program this game as fast as Sonic runs.
And that is just
Because they had to get this game out for Sonic's anniversary.
which I would have just if it was me, I would have just put a collection of game together for that and just kept working on this.
Oh,
This
they did. This is also the year they released the Sonic Genesis game for GBA.
Yeah, I got nothing. This was a mess.
This was the worst year of Sonic's history, if you ask me. Like, I actually like this game, but I like this game in a it's so bad it's good kind of way. I'm never going to say this is masterpiece. I don't even recommend people play it unless you just want to mock a game.
This, I remember getting this when this first came out, and it did not take me long to realize that this was a mistake.
Yeah, no.
Like, like
Echo,
graphics wise, it wasn't terrible.
yeah.
Like
Oh no, the graphics still hold up to this day,
yeah.
if you ask me.
I mean,
Places.
Sonic looked like a decent Sonic. Tails looked like Tails. The
Hmm.
animations was generally smooth, and the
But
first problem I had when I was playing as Sonic was that you never got long instances just to run.
no.
Like,
And when you do, if you touch the wall, you die.
if you touch the wrong floor, you die.
If you don't take these automatic speed ramps, you have no control on just right, you'll go through the wall and draw 'em. Like anything that can go wrong with these stages, go wrong with these stages.
This was also the one where if you jump onto the wrong platform, you could just stand there forever, ignore
Mm,
gravity forever.
yeah. The ramps Sonic usually, the loops Sonic usually has to go really fast on, are just coded as normal ground. So you just stop running and be upside down. It's just so dumb.
Yeah.
The honestly, Shadow probably has the least glitchy section of all the characters, and his sections are still pretty damn glitchy.
Yeah, and I honestly
Sonic
think
has,
Silver had the worst lock-on attack.
yeah, Silver's is glitchy, but I think Sonic's sections are the glitchiest. Which he's the main character. He should have gotten the most polish.
I
This is
mean,
going for a guy who prefers Shadow over Sonic.
this was an attempt to try and polish up everything that a 3D Sonic could have been.
Hmm.
Instead, this was an example of everything a Sonic game should not be in
It's this
any
game that,
form of D.
yeah, this game almost killed Sonic for most people. This people consider this, well, some people consider Shadow the Hedgehog the start of the Sonic Dark Ages, but this game definitely the start of the Sonic Dark Ages.
Shadow may have started it, but this was definitely nailing the nails in the coffin.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the previous next couple of games that came out managed to resolve a lot of issues.
Except for if you ask me, the next game in the series is Sonic Unleashed, which I consider to be the worst game in the entire franchise.
But that's not really a true 3D game in the sense that we're looking at the perspective from.
It did introduce the boost system, which I end up adoring in the later games, but
Mm-hmm.
there are some hub worlds in Sonic Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed feels like a last grasp of what was good from the Adventure franchise and then didn't do anything with it. Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic 06 is just bad. Like
Yeah, there is
even though
no.
I can enjoy it because I like laughing at how bad it is, you shouldn't play a game like that. You shouldn't release a game like this.
No.
That being said, there are I'm just gonna say the Sonic the Hedgehog fan base. There's somebody out there who is rebuilding this game from the ground up, warts and fixing all the warts. So it's actually a really good game.
Which is impressive
It is.
and
It never
time
existed
consuming.
yet.
Really, really time consuming.
Hmm. But reason why we did all this and talked about the waste potential of all of this is Sonic Frontiers is not an adventure game, but it feels like the what the adventure games always wanted to be, an
I
open world adventure.
Yeah, I keep comparing it to Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Everyone does, and the dev team is kind of pissed off by that, which I don't blame them.
Now, I know it's not going to be like Zelda Breath of the Wild. I'm not even going to
No,
be that blunt. But the one thing I would like to say is if they give, if it is as true of an open world for Sonic as they claim, the main issue I find with a lot of these open world Sonic games, even going back to Adventure 1, is Sonic needs to feel fast. The They give you obstacles in Sonic games to try and slow you down, but when you get around them, you can do it quickly.
hmm
Sonic, if you give Sonic an open map, he should be able to get from one side of the map to the other
yeah,
in almost no time flat.
there shouldn't be a need for a fast travel system
Now,
because you are the fast travel system.
obviously, you're going to need to be able to stop to
Hmm.
investigate things.
You want to have some tricky jumping puzzles.
Now, I'm
You'll
not
need to.
saying that for the speed he's going, you should have him stop at a dime. That's stupid.
That'd be fair to say, don't have him stop on a dime.
You
Make
could
that
have
part of the
him
challenge.
physics engine's there. You can have him slide for a certain amount of distance because he's done that
Yeah.
in variety of things. I can understand that.
What Soul and I both agree with is Frontiers needs to give us the illusion of Sonic's speed.
Now, if there are other ways of getting around, fine. I mean, you can give him a glider so you can observe things from above, because always
I
seeing
mean-
things from while you're super speeding, you're gonna miss stuff.
People tend to forget that he was the original owner of the Tornado plane, so that means he can fly a plane. So I wouldn't be opposed to him flying a plane.
They need to
The only-
give him back his original homing attack from Sonic Adventure 2, and maybe try and fine tune that if they're going to go with the homing attack.
They're
again.
all over the place with the homing attack. It's either really good or really bad in games.
Mm-hmm.
The worst homing attack I feel is the one from Lost World, which we didn't get to talk to at the time.
Yeah, but the one from Adventure 2 was one of the better ones, and probably the best one in my opinion, from the ones that I've played.
Mm-hmm.
So they could run with that, get a little bit more finesse behind it. They got a pretty solid engine. Also, and this is my biggest pet peeve with all the Sonic games as of yet, since Adventures, can we please have the Chaos Emeralds go back to being a secret item to collect for bonus Supersonic instead of having it being the MacGuffin to save the day? I
Yeah,
missed
can we
that.
talk- I liked when Supersonic was just a character you can play. The last one that let you do that is. No, I think
Forces?
Forces did, Generations did, and so did Colors, but they didn't really feel that amazing.
No, it was always the Chaos Emeralds going super was always the end game MacGuffin.
Yeah, it's the end game MacGuffin in the story, but you can in those games use it. They almost made you pay for it in Forces, though. Yeah, I wouldn't have paid that for DLC.
No. But it always just felt like,
Like don't make the emeralds part of the story, but have them be there for us.
yeah, I mean, put them into the story as how they got there and how you're collecting them. That's fine. And then you can have your secret ending when you collect all 7 when you go to fight the end boss. Have your secret ending that way. I'm not opposed to this. They did that for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. They did it for Sonic and Knuckles. They did it for
Generations.
Generations. Thank you. I cannot think of which one that was.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss that. I'm kind of sick and tired of everything revolving around the story just needing the emeralds. It's like, then why didn't we just end it as soon as we had all 7?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in Sonic Forces, at least Sonic was kidnapped and presumed dead. Yeah, spoilers, people, but I'm not really worried about that.
Most people do not play Sonic stories. They keep trying to make it so important, but a lot of us don't care. I care about the story, but at the same time, I don't care that much about the story.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, though, Sonic is known for fantastic stories that often get wasted terribly.
Oh my god, and how so?
So, I think we should end this with where we'll be next time.
We will be going far into the outskirts of the alternate universes of quite literally one of the better Sonic incarnations, the Archie comics.
Be prepared for us, though, to say penders and shake our fists at the sky a few times.
Yeah. And if you know who
Yeah.
this character is, I appreciate you.
I like him.
So, we'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned a couple of things. If you have any thoughts, please feel free to share. Please leave a comment if you would like. I'd love to hear your opinions. Maybe tell us what your favorite Sonic game was. Doesn't necessarily have to be a 3D one. Just in general, what your favorite Sonic game was.
Side note, Mania and Generations are my favorite too.
I'm a fan of Forces, and so
You do you, man.
yeah. So, thanks a lot for listening, and have a good day.